we are back. More leaks. I don't know if it's gonna capture my hands. It's probably gonna bug out the AI. But if you see my hands flying all over the screen and it suddenly disappears, it's because of the AI that, you know, hides the background and stuff. Hello everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day. And today I am here to bring to you new leaks and new units that were going to be released this week. Like everybody, okay, let me just get this straight, right? Everybody talk about how this week we just had a surprise summon which wasn't planned at all, right? This week was just gonna be the rate up for another unit, similar to always, right? But the unit wasn't ready. And why? Is probably because of the bugs. The kit is fully fleshed out. It was supposed to be released this week, right? That's why we have an empty banner. But probably there's some bugs going on, like the kit reads kind of difficult, so I can see how they messed up the programming in that. But yeah, this week was supposed to be Lynx plus Eloin, right? And we're gonna get to the banner art over here. As you can see, look at that, beautiful, right? This was gonna be what was gonna be. This is what was gonna be this week. And unfortunately, we didn't get it. Now, when is this going to be released? I don't know. I honestly don't know. If they had planned this and if they fix it, I don't know if they're going to move the schedule. Or if they already are like, okay, let's run that banner, then this. But eventually, this will happen, right? This was supposed to happen this week, 27th, 28th of February. And that's it, right? They added the surprise summon as a last-ditch effort to save it. However, we're gonna get to the kit in a second. Before that, let's roll the intro. So, okay, as you can see, Lynx Eloin is already a pretty good banner. And what is Lynx, right? If I want to sum it up in just one word, is legendary version of Elokus. It's insane. It's gonna change metas, okay? To my, like, it's not gonna be crazy damage, like, because I said about Yuri that she's gonna change metas because of how good she does damage. She's gonna out DPS Silas, right? That's what I said, and I was wrong, right? I honestly stood by it and went all in. I went all dry and actually got A2 Yuri out of the whole ordeal. But this clearly speaks that she's gonna replace Marie for, like, a very good reason. We're gonna see her kit in a second. Let's roll it. This is gonna be Lynx, and I actually moved it to the right so I can actually have my head on the side. Lynx, Northerner faction. Oh my god, this is gonna synergize so nicely, similar to Marie. Again, this is like a marksman version of Elokus, and she's basically gonna take over what Marie is already doing. It's a standard marksman rage, 11,000 HP, synergizes very nicely with Northerners, because honestly, the regular amount of HP that a, for example, a marksman should have is around 10k. She has 11k, so she has more than usual. Nice, nice, nice. Attack 3.7k. Standard for any marksman. However, she is not going to do that much damage. She's going to read like crazy tons of multiplier, as you're going to see in a sec. However, she isn't going to deal that much damage. She's mostly a CC unit, as you're going to see. Defense 871, half decent. That's pretty good for a I mean, it's a northerner, it makes sense. Attacking interval of 2 seconds, standard for a marksman. Again, magic resistance of 904. It's pretty good for a platform unit because the average is something like 600 to 700. So again, more northerner, more being tanky. Block 1 doesn't matter. Cost 12, similar to every other marksman. A max range of 900 that can be knocked down all the way to 700. We're gonna see that in a sec. Talent. Each basic attack has a 30% chance to inflict 1 stack of Winter's Bite. You're gonna see she's gonna synergize with herself, right? This is basically going to be Glacius if Glacius was good, right? Everybody said Glacius is gonna be nice. He wasn't. I told them he's not gonna be. They didn't listen, right? Glacius was supposed to be a good synergizing freeze unit, right? This is what you're gonna see from a good synergized self-synergizing freeze unit. So each basic attack has a 30% chance to inflict Winter's Bite. I believe that's the same as Yimmerit. The trigger chance increases by an extra 30% against airborne units. So 60% chance to inflict a stack of Winter's Bite on airborne units. This not only slows them down, to my knowledge, but also Also decreases their attack speed. So this is going to be the bane of literally every single flying in GVG. This is basically, this unit is just designed for GVG, by the way. Deals 30% increased damage to enemies inflicted with Winter's Bite or Freeze, which is, Freeze is basically 3 stacks of Winter's Bite. So yeah, she's basically gives them Winter's Bite and then freezes them and then deals more damage when she is giving them the debuff and stuff. But however, it's 3 seconds, so it doesn't last that long. However, I mean, come on, right? If she can constantly do it, that would be nice. But it's really, really hard to get her to actually freeze someone. Winter's Bite is most likely. However, synergize her with Ymert and you're golden. Deals 100, 105, 110, 150, and 100% 20 damage after all the max skilling, 120% damage to one enemy one time, prioritizing airborne units, every single marksman. Ultimate, this is wrong, right? By the way, it reads Ultimate Needle of Torment. Needle of Torment is the same text for Yuri, right? Yuri's ultimate is called the Needle of Torment. This is, to my knowledge, I think it's called Frozen Rain. Frozen Rain, I think it's called. And it lasts 8 seconds. It's not the way you think, right? It's not going to be an 8-second ult. It is 8 seconds, but not in the way you think. Initial rage 550, and max rage goes down 900, 800, and 700, probably after 2. Skill reduction in the skill ups. Deals 400, 500, and 600 damage respectively upon skill ups to 8 enemies in range. So crazy town AoE. That reads very similar to Brienne, right? The way that she targets different units, because Elucus just explodes an area and just freezes that area. So if they're in it, good, but she just attacks 8 units in her range. They don't have to be bunched up together. And also, she increases on her ultimate, increases her range to an extended marksman, right? We call it an extended marksman, similar to those that get the benefit of a lord from the marksman faction. She's a solo northerner, not a dual faction, so yeah, she needs that. And increases the damage multiplier by 200% against enemies inflicted with Winter's Bite or Freeze. So instead of dealing 30% damage, she instead does 200%. Meanwhile, creates a frozen domain, we will get to that, for 8 seconds with a radius of 2 tiles ahead, right? If we go down to the very bottom of the passives, frozen domain, every 2 seconds inflicts 1 stack of Winter's Bite on up to 8 enemies nearby for 3 seconds. So basically, what she's gonna do is in front of her, in like a semicircle, right? There are 2 possibilities, right? Either one, the domain, the frozen domain, is gonna be a 3x3 in front of her, not around her, in front of her, right? Similar to any mage that's not had the second promotion. You know how they have a 3x3 in front of them without the additional time? That's either it's gonna look like that, or it's gonna look like a the ultimate from Estrid. So it's gonna be something like this. I don't know if it's gonna capture my hands, something like this. I don't know which one, but probably the first, the former. So it's going to be a 3x3 in front of her that's going to have a frozen domain for 8 seconds. Any enemies inside will get a stack of frozen Winter's Bite every 2 seconds and for 3 seconds. So as long as they're in, they're constantly getting it refreshed. So they're not going to run out of Winter's Bite, they're constantly going to get it, and they're basically going to be frozen. Very similar to Marie's ultimate. However, imagine if the rain actually lasted for like 8 seconds total, and also it takes a little bit of a while for it to kick in. But don't worry, the second it's triggered, it'll already start to slow down the enemies. So it's very similar to Marie's ultimate, except it does more damage, it has more range, and also she just gives everyone Winter's Bite. Passive, Frozen Shatter, right? Every 12, 11, and 10 seconds after skill ups, the next basic attack will deal instead 160, 180, and 200 damage to 3 enemies in range. Again, reads similar to Brienne, right? This is a mix of Brienne, Elucus, and Marie. Up to 3 enemies in range and inflicts 1 stack of Winter's Bite. This is very similar to that multi-attack that Brienne has. So Brienne just attacks, basic attack, basic attack, basic attack, and then every now and then she just constantly just boom, and it just deals damage to a bunch of targets in her range. This is similar to that and gives them Winter's Bite as well. Makes it very nice to, if you're wanting to pair it up with the talent, because like you do basic attack, it gives Winter's Bite. You have a more higher chance of actually maxing out the Winter's Bite or giving more stacks. The next passive is the Ice-Boring Arrow. We will get to that. I'm not gonna read it yet. The passive, we also have Winter's Bite. In case you don't know, decreases movement speed by 25%, stacking up to 3 times. And after reaching 3 stacks, it will immediately freeze the target for 2 seconds. 2 seconds? 2 seconds is really short. I thought it would be like 6-7 seconds. But yeah, does not apply to target inflicted with freeze, so yeah. Now the second passive of her kit is deals 100, 110, 120, 130 and 150% damage to one enemy within 2 tiles. Damage multiplier against airborne units increases by 50%. Now this is the interesting part, right? I spent an ungodly long time, I think it was like 30-45 minutes, just reading this part between the Ice Boring Bow and the Ice Borer, right? And I have reached one conclusion that is probably really weird, but it's probably the reason the hero also got delayed. And that is that similar to Crodor, Lynx is also going to have a third passive that's not going to be upgraded. And that is going to be the Ice Boring Arrow, right? You know how Crodor has that passive that increases his block in, I think it's gear raids and stuff, right? You know that passive that you cannot upgrade on Crodor. Go check it out right now. She's also has a passive like that, and it's called the Ice Boring Arrow. If the target is inflicted with freeze, the chance of what? It doesn't say the chance increases, right? The chance of Ice Borer increases to 100%. So basically, what's gonna happen is when she attacks, she deals more damage to frozen units. You know that already, right? She deals 30% more damage to targets with Winter's Bite. But instead of dealing just 30% more damage to targets with freeze, she's gonna the basic attack is gonna convert into what's called an Ice Borer. Deals 150% damage to one enemy within 2 tiles, right? Damage multiplier against airborne units is increased by 50%. So when she attacks a unit that is frozen, and also like within 2 tiles, probably from the frozen domain. So frozen domain triggers this amazingly because it is within 2 tiles and also freezes them quickly. She's gonna do 150% damage to them and even more damage multiplier against airborne units. So amazing for countering airborne targets in GVG. And it's guaranteed to happen with the Ice Boring Arrow passive. We're gonna go to her actual awakenings, and this is gonna be pretty trippy, so get ready for it. The first one, Ice Borer, right? You know, the one that when she attacks a frozen target, has a 60% chance to inflict a stack of Winter's Bite, which is the part that I don't really understand, right? Because if the target is already frozen, then Winter's Bite doesn't really count, right? Probably what's happening here is if the target is frozen and she goes to attack it, right, the attack is already happening and target gets unfrozen, she also will do a stack of Winter's Bite. There's a 60% chance of doing Winter's Bite. A2 attack 300%, attack plus 300, makes sense, it's just completely natural. A3 Ice Borer can also trigger Ice Boring Arrow, right, to generate Ice Borer up to 1 time. That's kind of confusing, and this is the part that was like really tripping over. And basically what I can understand from it is that when she attacks a frozen target with the Ice Borer, you know, deals more damage, it triggers immediately the Ice Boring Arrow again, so she doubles in attack, right? Similar to that passive that Arrogance has that makes him attack like twice. It's not exactly the same as attacking with Torador, it's just 2 individual basic attacks that come back to back and are just away from attack speed, right? So he's still gonna go with his usual, he's just gonna have a shadow that's gonna damage afterwards. You know, that's Arrogance. She's gonna do something like that, right? Instead of the 1 arrow doing 2 times damage, you know, triggering the damage twice, instead she's gonna immediately trigger 1 outside of her attack speed. So it's not gonna, you know, slow you down by any means. It's just gonna be an immediate second attack that is regardless of her attack speed. A4 is Rage Regen attack plus 2, which sucks, but yes, it's pretty, it's nifty, right? It's really small, but considering the fact that it's all about her rage regen and, you know, she constantly attacking and getting that rage up, maybe it's useful. I've always hated rage regen attacks, however this might just prove useful. I don't know, we're yet to see. After using Frozen Rain, which is the ultimate again, immediately triggers the Frost Shatter one time, aka, you know, the 200% damage up to 3 enemies. So when she uses the ultimate, she immediately also just bursts down again, right? She does a big instance of 600% damage up to 8 enemies, and then does again a 200% instance of damage to 3 enemies, so even more damage via that. That's Lynx, right? I don't know what to say, right? She sounds really good for GVG. I think she's gonna replace Marie. Oh my god, mix her with Ymeret and Brokir and a healer, right? And a wild card, right? You can have an aura, you can have whatever. You're gonna have infinite Winter's Bite, right? It's gonna be nice until the game decides to release more of those, you know, winter factions, you know, winter demon soldier factions. We already have one, which is like the Fool, but like, you know, frozen version of it. It's like an epic unit with 3 cost. But yeah, the more enemies of that faction will be released. When that happens, she's kind of going to be out of the meta. However, for now, she's really, really good because there's only like 2 enemies, and one of them is the little soldiers that we've had for a really long time. They attack the unit, they attack your defenders and give them Winter's Bite. There's also the newly added like the Fools. But yeah, other than those, everybody else is susceptible to Winter's Bite, so this sounds very nice on paper. I don't know, we have to test that. However, this sounds like she's gonna change the meta, right? But that's not the only thing today, right? That is not the only thing today. That's not everything. We have a second unit as well. However, caution, right? This second unit, take it with a grain of salt, right? This, like Lynx, was gonna release this week, right? It's weird that we don't have her already. The next unit is so early in development that is not even on test server. She's not even on test server. I'm not joking, right? She literally was extracted from the game files, and we don't have anything on her. So take this with a grain of salt, because last time we did something like that, it was with Lubu. I overhyped him because he was insane. 40% penetration was insane, and then they changed that to 40% rage regen, and then I hated it, right? And the thing was, even Lubu and Diao-chan from last league was more fleshed out than this. We almost have nothing on this new unit, let alone her name. I have no idea what her name is, but this is the new unit, right? We have somewhat of an idea of what her kit is going to be, and I know that she's going to change meta, right? She's going to be insane. She's going to be broken, right? Let me just read it off, and I can't show you the actual notes about her, because like the leaker that actually sent me this wasn't very happy if I actually, you know, showed you the full screenshot. I just happened to ask for the picture, and I was granted permission. So what we have about her, so what we have from her is that she is a rare summon, right? She's not going to be ancient, so that already knocks off all the chaotics and arbiters. She's not a chaotic, she's not an arbiter. She can be pulled with a blue summon. She has from 10 to 25% damage reduction, probably different conditions, probably skill ups, right? However, she has up to 25% damage reduction. Constant shield, very similar to Olag, so she's constantly going to get herself shielded. Refreshing Undying every 60 seconds. She gets an anti-death every 60 seconds. There's one unit in the entire game that also does that, and it's A5 Gone. She has base without any, you know, awakenings. And she's also blue. She's not a, you know, an ancient exclusive lord. On A0 blue, she can actually get Undying every 60 seconds. She has HP based damage, right? And also, I have to note this, right? She is fundamentally different from every single unit in the game. Because, for example, we have HP based units such as Jira, such as Gluttony. We also have defense based units, right? Such as Gon, such as Crodor, such as Jorge, right? However, unlike them, she's completely different. She is fully HP based, right? Attack does nothing. Similar to Vortex, you know how attack does nothing? He's an actual HP based healer, right? Same thing here. She literally has nothing to do with attack. All of her attack comes from HP, just 100%. Because for someone like Gon or Crodor, when it says damage scales off of defense, it's attack plus a percentage of defense, right? A percentage of defense or percentage of HP based on what they're scaling off of, right? For her, she has nothing to do with attack. It's just HP based. She has a 2-tower range. She can pull similar to Trusk and Admiral Claw. And she also has CC, which is probably going to be either freeze or most likely stuns, right? She's gonna deal a lot of damage. She, on her ultimate, she gets 3 extra block, very similar to Gon. She's a dual faction, right? She's a dual faction, we don't know what faction they are, but I'm speculating, in one of them, I'm like 90% sure that one of her factions is gonna be Esotericist, right? The other faction is probably gonna be Northerner, however, we don't know that yet, right? So, take it with a grain of salt, but my guess is it's gonna be a Northerner slash Esotericist, and even more, right? It doesn't like specify more, but there is more to her kit that is currently TBD. There's like, it's just empty, right? She's not even in the test server. This is an actual in-game file, right? We had to extract it from the files itself and view it in Unity. So it's really early in development. Everything can change, so don't really trust it, but know that they're coming up with a tank that's probably gonna be really decent. However, don't get your hopes up. Everything can change. By the way, when I get the news, it takes me a couple days before I actually release the leaks, so these are kind of for a couple days ago. However, if you want to be like up to date immediately, the second the leaks come out, you want to get them, join my Discord. It's viewed there. We always share the leaks, we have fun, we giggle and all of that. Tell me your suggestion, ask me any questions you have, link in the description. Definitely do join. Thank you all for watching. I don't know what to think of this. Yeah, we just have to see the testers such as Fasty or Water Guys or whatever, like whoever's gonna test it, cool, right? We're gonna have to see, wait for the test. However, this is what the kid reached us. Thank you all for watching and have a good one.